Welcome to the Challenging the Way We Age podcast, hosted by the Mavericks of Senior Living, Francis and Catherine, focusing on creativity, ingenuity, and inspiration to educate and inspire changes in the senior experience, breaking the status quo. We want to thank our supporters, Assured Assisted Living, Serenity App, Sevens Home Care, and Sevens Residential Memory Care. Now get ready for the next episode.
You Mavericks, it's Francis, your Chief Curiosity Maverick, and we are coming from CALA's fall conference in Aurora, Colorado, and I am here with some fantastic people.
Yep. Hi, I'm Catherine, your Chief Inspiration Maverick, who cannot speak.
And we are here with Peter, who I guess the best way to describe you is the assisted living marketing guru. I'm not sure.
I like that.
Okay. All right.
I'll go with that.
Okay. The assisted living marketing guru who has been involved heavily with CALA for years. So why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about just who you are, what you do, and how you got to where you are now?
Absolutely. So Peter Brissette, my branding that I go by is digital marketing dude. But really that's primarily been focused in senior care and assisted living for the last 10 years. Which is pretty awesome because I've never had a job that long.
Okay.
Like I never had
That's
a job.
Great, but you can work for
10
yourself.
Years. But apparently I can work
So you
for
must be
myself.
an okay boss.
Sometimes I'm a jerk, but
Don't tell
Anyway.
your employees that.
yeah. So, and really I, like a lot of things in life, you kind of fall into things kind of by accident. And the last company that I was working for before I decided I needed to start a business, had said, "Hey, you should check out assisted living." And I said, "Awesome. What's that?" I had no clue
Yeah.
Okay.
even what that was. And I'd been in nursing homes and things like that. And I just thought these were terrible, awful places. You know, why would it,
Yeah.
what
many
is
people.
assisted living compared
Oh,
to
gotcha. Okay.
a nursing home? Like,
Right.
I did not know there was a difference. And so I reached out to a couple associations, and Tom Kinraid at the time was president of CALA. And he's like, "Yeah, I'd love to tell you all about what it is. Let's have coffee and get together." It's like, great. And he, showed me his homes, and I learned all about it. And what I really realized and what got me excited was it's like, oh, like you guys are caring for people in their most critical time of their life. Like you truly are caring for people. And that was really what I gathered as I started looking into it. So I got involved with the association initially from, can I sell these guys something? I got fired from that job. That was my last job.
Okay.
When I said, okay, maybe the universe is telling me I need to do my own thing. And so I hadn't really figured out what that was going to be or decided what that was, but I had started doing all this internet marketing stuff on my own.
Okay.
I was building websites. I was putting stuff out there. I was doing a lot of that already. And I didn't really think it was something I could sell to somebody else.
Services is much more than just providing care. And I feel, I can't say it enough, get involved. There's a lot of different ways to do it besides just being that frontline caregiver. Yes, we need those people, but we need people in marketing. We need people in construction and architects. And, I still go back to that conversation with Dr. Amy Dorr, who said she surveyed a lot of the incoming class at Metro State, and they go, aging services. Oh, you take care of old buildings. And it was like,
It was an eye-opening conversation.
Wow.
Scary.
Yeah. And
Scary.
so we're really, one of the things Francis and I are on a mission to do is spread the word that there's so much opportunity, and being a caregiver does not have to be your superpower to be in this industry.
Yep.
So I love that. I'm glad that your story led us to that. And so continue on, please.
So just doing that, I kind of moved along. I was really just building relationships, and then it became, hey, Tom, I was looking at your website, kind of sucks. You should pay me to fix that for you.
All right.
And so he's like, fine, I'll pay you. And then the next one and the next one.
Cool.
And it's like, by the way, now you have a website. You need some, we need to drive some traffic to it. We need to do some SEO. We need to do some AdWords. Let's check out some social media. And they're like, of course. And so, very quickly, just focusing on senior care, we got up and running, and I actually had a business.
That's awesome. Do you work just with senior living in Colorado, or do you do stuff outside the state from marketing as well too?
So thankfully, we did focus on Colorado, and that's all we did for a long time. But we have clients from coast to coast now.
Cool. Congratulations. That's
cool.
awesome.
And that's the great thing about technology, right?
Yes.
It's because I'm in the tech business too. You can, it doesn't matter where you're based. It's a business that can go across state lines and country lines and continent lines, across oceans.
But all those relationships started here in Colorado, right? Building those relationships and finding those people. So it's an amazing industry. It's a small industry in a way. It's very well connected, and
it's such a small industry and such a big industry.
Yeah,
and
at the same time.
Yes, it's very interesting. It's different for me than my corporate experience. It's very, very different, and I love it. I just love it. So you fell in love with the idea of helping senior care.
Yes.
And your superpower is all about SEO and websites and driving business to them, to the facilities. So, and
that it's a little missional for me in the sense of, I've had relationships with the owners of these communities. It's like, I know what you're doing there. Like, I can see it. I've been in your homes. I know exactly. I've been in your facilities. I know what you're doing. I want families and seniors to find this. They need to find you because you're doing good work. Not every assisted living facility is the same.
Right.
And so for us, it's like we're not just helping our owners, keep their business going. We're helping families find care. So
that's a good way to look at it.
We're a couple steps behind it. Like, I'm not directly involved in it, but our way of making that connection is a part of what we really do.
So that's part of your meaning when you get up
Absolutely.
And you say, this is what I'm doing today.
Absolutely.
This is why I'm doing it.
Yes.
I love it. It's your why. So tell us a little bit more about what that is.
Well, so let's talk about, there's a lot of things we could talk about, right? It's a very complicated, changing space. In particular, talk about technology and the digital marketing space, and how do people make those connections. And so the one area that really over the last, so my first time that I kind of published something or said something about this has been almost 10 years ago now.
Wow.
In 2020, it'll be 10 years. But I saw that reputation and online reviews was going to become a more significant piece. And I started really looking at that. And I kind of got away from it for a little while. But the last couple of years, we've really made that a primary focus, because people are making decisions about even making a phone call based on what they read about you online. So it doesn't matter all the other marketing stuff that you do, everything else that you're putting out there that may say you're wonderful, they're going to find out, are you really, before they make that call, and they're going to check and see. And there's several challenges with reviews for assisted living in particular. One, it's difficult to get them.
True. Yeah.
Like, it's hard just to get a review from a family member and to have them put it on Google or Facebook or one of the caring.com, wherever it might be. So they're harder to get than almost any industry. So when you look at something like a restaurant that has hundreds of new customers coming through every single month, they can get 30, 40, 50, 100 reviews a month. So if you're, especially smaller communities, you're not changing family members that often.
Right. So you have a smaller pool.
Here and there. So you have a much smaller pool of people that you can even pull from to get the reviews. So it is hard to get them. But in general, nobody's even trying.
They're not asking for them?
They're not even asking for them. They're not even putting effort into trying to get them.
So I'm gonna leap ahead a little bit, and I wonder if this is where you were going. So if you're not trying to get reviews, there are people who will just give reviews. But when do they give those reviews unprompted?
when I'm pissed off.
Yep.
When I'm angry.
So that's what you get.
Something goes wrong.
Upset ones.
So now I'm not paying attention to it. I'm not doing anything. I haven't been building positive. So what do I get? The only reviews I have are negative.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. So that makes total. And I
That's
can
the only
see
time
a lot
really-
of facilities that struggle with that. I can see that.
Yeah. And so it paints an unfair picture of
Completely
your
unfair.
community.
Right.
Completely unfair.
And
Right?
so you have an opportunity as an owner operator to take some level of control. And that's
Yes.
through, what's it called?
Well, so now we offer services that help make it easier for you to do this.
Okay.
Right. So that's part of what we do. But at the very least, if you put in some system in place, like you don't have to hire me to do this. And I'm happy to help because I can make it easier for you. But if you don't have it, as it has to be systemized.
Right.
Everybody in your community has to understand how important these reviews are.
Mm.
So when a caregiver's with a family member and there was a situation with mom and they helped out and they took care of it and the family member says, "You were a godsend, you were an angel."
Yeah. And they hear that a lot.
By the way, can you go write a review about that?
Yeah.
Oh God, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's at the moment of
That feedback.
yeah.
and so if we don't systemize it and put that in place, we're missing out on all this great stuff
Wow.
that's happening.
Because you can almost bonus, or they give out a business card and the caregiver could get a $10 bonus if they write a good review because of something
Absolutely.
they did.
Oh, see?
So then maybe
There we
creating
go.
a better culture. So you
Yes.
can loop it back to not only are you now helping the company, but you're helping the culture.
Yes.
Interesting.
Mhm.
And the caregiver
Feels,
I
get a
my
$10
gosh,
gift card
yeah.
because they think,
That-
oh my gosh,
so
wow.
empowering, and so everybody needs accolades, and caregivers
Right.
rarely get the
They don't get-
accolades, right?
Exactly.
They usually get the negative
The
more
negatives,
times.
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
So
I mean,
that's
It's always about what did you do wrong?
Right.
What do we got to fix?
we just did a little collaboration here. That's awesome.
Yes.
I like that.
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
That's my vision of how it should be.
Okay. How do you see it? How is it really though?
It's not like that.
Yeah.
So it's why I feel like I'm a preacher. I'm like preaching this message. And I just hope people will listen to me. And I'm telling you, so a lot of the trainings that I do, and I'm talking about reviews and reputation, I've gone from saying you should do this to I'm begging you,
Please do this.
please,
Mm-hmm.
please do this. Because what will happen is you're going to call me when the shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And now we got a lot of work to try to catch up and to make this
Yeah.
and make it better.
And
that's hard.
So
That's hard work.
To dig out of that is a really difficult thing to do.
It's hard.
Do companies even, like, I guess day one think about their online reputation, or is it usually after the fact? I mean, are you getting approached by, hey, I'm starting this assisted living. How do I set it up?
Unfortunately, it's again, this is why I feel like I'm a preacher trying to say this. I think a lot of times it comes across your mind, oh, yeah, I should think about reviews. There's so many other things that are higher priority. It gets pushed down.
True.
And I see this across all industries almost, right? It just gets pushed down. So it's really why we emphasize it. And that's kind of a lot of what we lead with is let's get this working and get things moving in the right direction. It's just too important. Because if you're going to do SEO and you're going to do paid advertising and you have a poor to nothing reputation online, you're wasting money.
What have you done any case studies to see, like, hey, if you have 10, 15 reviews that are 4.5 stars, you have X improved occupancy or whatever. Is there anything out there that can support that? Or
So caring.com
right.
does a lot with these kind of stats and these numbers.
Interesting.
And so they do have some really good information on that. And if I can remember a couple of them. So one important stat that they talk about is that one positive review can actually be worth up to $50,000 per year
Wow.
to your business.
It's a big number.
So when you take it in the scope and because Carry.com has thousands of communities and thousands
Right.
of reviews, so they
Right.
pull this together. The other thing that they find is that those communities that have 15 to 20 reviews at least, positive reviews, do have a much higher occupancy rate.
Interesting. So it's not only the quality of the review, it's also the number.
Yes.
The quantity of reviews.
Both of those
yeah,
are really critically important. So
yeah.
And to kind of dig into it a little bit with the details, especially with Google and how Google's changing a little bit when you look at reviews, there's an option that, so when you have Google My Business, which is your Google Maps page, right? That's where the review gets left. So it's how I found your community. It's what pops up when I do a search way before your website comes up.
Right.
And because it's a local search, you're a local business, brick and mortar. And so now I'm looking at your reviews. It has an option now where you can say, ask a question. And the first place that Google is going to look to try to answer that question through kind of AI, automated intelligence, or what said that?
Yeah,
wrong.
I made intelligent. You're right. Mm-hmm.
So
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial
That's what it was.
intelligence.
Yeah, sorry, it's Friday.
It's artificial, automatic, whatever. As you start typing the question, it will start to scan the reviews to see if the answer is in the reviews.
Oh,
So I
didn't know that.
I have a video. So I have a video on my YouTube channel where I show this,
That's crazy.
looking at a community where I what are the most common questions? Well, how's the food? And I type into this communities. I say, how is the food? It starts showing me reviews. They have a 5-star chef. The meals are amazing, and it starts highlighting everything related to the meals. Well,
So-
how is the staff? The staff is amazing. It starts highlighting every review that has something about the staff.
Wow.
So the detail and the quality of your reviews is actually going to help people go, oh, this is a great place. I need to call them.
yeah.
That's a lot there. That's intriguing.
Yeah, there is.
And it sounds-
there's
yeah.
a lot to reviews, and so you were talking about the quality and the quantity, and the quantity is also something that people look at to see if they're real, because
Yes.
everybody knows about fake reviews. So is it real? Are these things that I can trust?
Yes.
And that's why the quantity is so important as well,
Yep.
because you
And-
can't fake that many reviews.
You can't, and you can, and people are more sophisticated over time too, because they can kind of see what's a fake review and what's not.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay.
They can really kind of detect that
Yeah.
thing. So you definitely want authentic reviews. You don't want to buy reviews.
Can you
Buying
actually people? You
reviews
can
is a
actually
better-
buy reviews.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's a whole
Oh,
online
that's kinda
scam.
sad.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, you can totally do it. So,
Amazon reviews.
Oh, that's
Amazon.
kind of well. You're dealing.
Don't
With,
even.
It's
yeah.
one thing for a product, but this is like a person's life. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I guess both are not ideal, but I feel like when you're dealing with human beings like that, I mean, you're someone's best. You're just making like a best friend to move somebody in and trust them to do everything.
Right.
And now you're relying on a robot or some other Joe Blow to write a review, and it's fake. I don't know.
Yeah.
It worries.
And I don't see it as much in this industry
I'm
as
sure,
other
yeah.
industries.
That's good. Though.
It's pretty unusual to see that, but yeah. So there's just a lot of aspects with that where the reviews are becoming even more important, like steadily over time. It's just it's raising its level of how important this is for people to make decisions about your business.
Yeah, and they won't if you have poor reviews online, then you have that to overcome. You're already
Yep.
starting in the negative.
Sure.
So
Right.
you're kind of crossed off the list before you can even get to them.
Yep.
And that's the reason that you were saying earlier. That's the reason it's so important. So it's not that you want to look good on the web. It's that you're really not even in the running if you don't have good reviews, or if you have no reviews and other people have great reviews, they're going to prioritize them higher.
Huh.
Totally.
And this is for the people that are, probably the millennials and the Gen X who are Googling stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're looking
Yeah.
at. It's not the senior that's moving in, right?
Right.
And
Right.
it's even the younger baby boomers, right, that are still dealing with mom at this
Yeah.
point. Like baby boomers read reviews.
Yep.
Like we have
True.
all the stats. We have all the numbers. It shows.
Yeah.
So from 18 to 70, All those people are reading reviews.
It's so true. We can't go to dinner in my household without reading a review anymore.
Right.
I'm like, let's just go eat. No,
Seriously?
my
Pick a
husband
place.
has to look,
What?
see the reviews. Yes, make sure it has good
You gotta
food.
get your husband to do something different.
I know.
Have a little more,
I know.
Have a little more entrepreneur type. Let's
I
try
know.
give a new restaurant a chance.
Yes, make
That's
a
right.
chance.
Let's be adventurous.
But he's very cerebral, and this is what happens is if the reviews are good, then he has a higher likelihood that he's going to enjoy the food.
Yes.
And that is exactly the process that we go through when we look at the reviews. The higher
Absolutely.
likelihood that's going to be a good assisted living.
I guess the challenge is, how do you get people to share in their most vulnerable time?
When they're happy.
Yes.
So it's not
that moment
not
of
in
happiness.
that. Yeah.
So you actually almost have to capture it right after they're happy, because if they go home and they don't capture it, they might not do it, right? I mean,
Yes.
so are we at the point where you need to have an iPad or something that a family can use immediately to write a review?
You can, and that's something that part of our tool is to make that easy, where you can literally just hand them an iPad, they just hit a button and they just go right to it.
Oh.
Okay.
Right? That makes it
What are
easy.
your daughter?
Yeah,
how would that make you feel if you had a great experience there? Here's an iPad. I don't know.
It depends on how it would be done, and it would
Okay.
probably be done really well, is
Okay.
my guess. But I think I would respond well. I think most people would too. At least it would really help us out. So back to the why
Yes.
with the millennials.
Yes.
It would really help us out if you would put a positive review on our
Yep.
Google site. Would
Yes.
you mind doing
Okay.
that? And it doesn't mean
Exactly.
you have to do it right in that moment.
Right.
When they say that to me, I always say in my head, okay, I'm going to do it. Sometimes I forget.
Yep.
Mhm.
But for the most part, if I really understood the value to them, I'm more than happy to do that.
Yep.
Hmm.
And we have things that we'll print up that'll have the instructions.
Oh.
So
Right,
you can
so a
have them
little
printed out,
card
postcards or a sheet
yep.
of paper, and just have them
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And so you can go, oh, here,
Yeah.
take this with you when you as soon as you get home, or you can do it on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
If you like what we do, please share
Yes.
it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I think that's huge, though. I think that's important to do.
well, it is very important. And I think that's what Peter is up against with the feeling like you're preaching. And some of that, it occurs to me that it seems very similar to in the corporate world, we have all these things
Yeah.
that we know to do. We
Yes.
know that
Right.
you're not even on the list if you aren't high on SEO and so forth.
Mhm.
And in the senior care world, we're a little bit behind. We're a
We
lot
are.
behind in that area.
Yep.
So I hope, and I'm sure that this is something that you're really trying to break through that silo.
Yes.
I hope to see this industry start to take advantage of the things that the corporate world has already figured out.
Yep.
Hire a marketing person. Doesn't have to be
Yeah.
a market, and not just the marketing person that does tours. Different marketing person,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you.
That's a little bit of the
to do-
confusion too
right.
in this
Yes.
industry. Like, there's terminologies that marketing has two very different meanings.
Yes.
In assisted living.
It all gets lumped together, though. Oh, I've got a marketer.
Right.
What do? They go to networking events and they go check out other facilities.
Right.
So you have a community person. No, they're a marketer.
You're exactly right. It
Not
gets
sure if that called a marketer.
it does get lumped together, and it's there's such specialties in marketing in the
Yes.
corporate world, and
Sure.
and just some of those can be brought in. And I don't think in an assisted living you need a full-time digital person, but to have
Not at all.
a company like yours that can do that for you, I think is a really, really important part of your strategy. And I hate to say this, but in the corporate world, we talk about it as demand generation. So we hate that term when it comes to people. We're
Yes.
not trying to create demand for assisted living. We're trying to raise
Awareness.
awareness about
Yes.
who you are and what you can provide when people
Make it
need
easier to find.
you. Yeah.
Wow. It's a lot. That's
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of things that we're realizing the more we keep talking to different people, Kathy, is how behind
Yes.
senior living is when it
Yes.
comes to a wide range of issues.
Yeah.
And here's another one. Digital marketing and marketing in
Right.
general. It's more than just going to networking events, more than just going to hospitals and trying to meet discharge planners. There's a lot
Yeah.
more to it.
And those are all important, right?
I
You need
agree.
the relationships, right?
Right.
Because so much of any business is about relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you can go, I have to segment these things out. And if I want to cover the gamut and make sure I have as many things covered as possible, So let's cover this gap that is so significant, right? Because even that discharge planner might check out my reviews.
Right.
And have to decide which facility am I going to send this person
Good point.
It's a great point.
That's a really good point.
It goes across so many different lines.
Because their reputation is on the line
Absolutely.
for who they
Absolutely.
discharge to.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a lot there.
Yeah.
A lot there that you don't realize.
So you've been involved in CALA for a really long time, and you were on the board.
Yes.
What were some of the things that you were hoping? You're not on the board anymore, is that
Not
true?
at this point. So,
Okay.
which I loved being on the board. It was a great experience for me. And, but because we are trying to push so much of these initiatives and have technology and do that stuff better as an association, they're like, Peter, we need to pay you to do that, right?
You should get
And
paid
so,
for your value. Yes.
So I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to pay me, I probably a conflict of interest to also
True.
be on the board.
Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And but I would say I still have a lot of influence,
Yeah.
in what we're doing here because I do care. I care about how seniors are getting cared for.
So what would you like to accomplish through your involvement with CALA?
So one of the things that's become more important over the last few years is just being more involved in that regulatory process and advocating for it. So, thankfully, Corky, our executive president, he's very well connected in both, our political and regulatory areas here in the state of Colorado. So I try to take as much advantage of that as I can and go down to the Capitol and meet these folks that are making decisions about where this industry is going to go. And letting them know, hey, I'm a resource for you. Like
That's great.
I've been from this aspect of it. I mean, I own a facility, but these people are my customers and my clients and my friends
Yeah.
over the years. And so, here's what's really going on. And so being able to help be part of that voice for the industry to make sure that that it's regulated properly in a way that's fair. And obviously, we have to protect consumers. We have to protect seniors. But people also need to run businesses and run profitable businesses. And trying to balance that from a regulatory level. And so that's been a lot more my involvement the last couple of years is doing that piece. And then I think the education piece is huge. So, we record all our sessions from all our conferences. So people that attend, we have 3 sessions going on at the same time. Sometimes you can't go to all 3.
Right.
So we record them so you can watch them, later. And you can use it to train your staff and lots of different things that you can do with that. So trying to have that type of technology and stuff that we make available to our members is that's a big piece of what I do too. It's just like having access,
Making
the
information and education
Yes.
accessible to people.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we're a statewide association, right? We don't just serve Denver,
Right.
even though our
You are
conference
the
today is in
Colorado
Aurora.
Assisted Living
So
Association.
how
yes.
can we still help, somebody that's on the western slope
Yep.
who didn't make it over here today, and be able to make that information available to them so that they can still feel they have a voice, on a state level. So
Yeah. And that's something technology can always help with, right?
yeah, amazingly so,
Yes.
right? It makes things, it brings us closer. It makes things smaller, makes things accessible. So we haven't done them in a while, but we'll do regular webinar updates and things like that, especially as they were rewriting regulations. We were doing a lot more,
That's great.
live conversations and keeping people up to date with what's going on and,
That's great.
and all that. So
Good. That's great.
Busy guy. Busy
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. So if people would like to know more about you,
Yeah.
where can they find you?
absolutely. So for senior care assisted living, we have assistedlivingmarketing.com. They can visit the website there. If you want to find out, hey, what does my reputation look like online? How am I showing up on Google? Like what's really happening there? I got tons of free reports that we'll run for you. All you have to do is say, hey, schedule a call with Peter, click the button, and then I'll have all your community information then, and I'll do the research. I like to do more blind research. Don't tell me too much.
Excellent.
Let me see what
that.
I can actually
I like
find
that,
out.
Yeah. So you have that experience of the person who's out there Googling and knows nothing about you.
And let's look at
that's
it.
great.
And then we've been doing this so long in this space, we've really narrowed down, here's what works. Very simple pricing, very affordable pricing. And because we do so much in this space, we're able to do a lot more with our resources to make it more affordable for folks as well. So
Cool.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank
for
you, Peter.
taking the time on a Friday. Thank you for all that you're doing, and hopefully you'll start getting some people to listen to the preacher and the need to stay on top of your online reputation. Right, the one takeaway today is stay on top of your online reputation.
Yep.
100%.
Yep. Thank you, Peter.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. The Mavericks want to hear from you. Visit us on Facebook and Instagram at Mavericks of Senior Living or mavericksofseniorliving.com and leave us your comments, questions, and ideas for future podcasts.